And today, I am extremely pleased and privileged to have a very special guest to me. He started as an army person, then moved to help the government in setting up cybersecurity in one of the high commissions in Bangladesh, then was involved in Aadhaar, which is kind of defining our country, and then now he is involved with the retail explosion of selling jewelry and eyewear online. And please join me in welcoming the head of Cybersecurity and InfoSec at the Titan Group, Nishith Datta.
Whatever you told, it was a wonderful 3 decades I had.
A little bit of flavor of what Aadhaar,
Digital payments, the loyalty programs, the entire threat landscape has shifted.
what's the secret sauce to deliver the message to your bosses and the board.
The perimeter is no more at your organization spot. Okay. You have actually made the consumer and the consumer's desktop your perimeter.
Hello everyone, this is Ashish Tandon. Welcome to the Guardians of the Enterprise show. Today, India being the fastest economy of the world, and I think arguably the fastest digital economy of the world. And all of us are seeing the explosion in the way we are buying our groceries, we are buying our clothes, we're buying stuff, everything is online, insurance, banking, etc. And I think while cloud, telecom, infrastructure, a lot of these things have played a huge role. But I think one of the most critical factors, which is really defining and helping us be seeing this digital surge, I would give Aadhaar, or the online authentication mechanism, as one of the key components, which is really enabling this to happen seamlessly, getting more and more citizens involved in this digital explosion. And because of this enabler, we've been seeing, and I believe Aadhaar is the largest authentication mechanism of the world by a fast distance. I think a lot of world's top colleges are covering this as a case study. The other thing which Aadhaar helped us was, we had never thought that, at some day we'd be buying jewelry or watches or eyewear online. I mean, these are some things we've always been touch and feel, go to the respective shops, look at it, feel it, and then buy it. But we are doing exactly that in these category of retail segment as well. And today, I am extremely pleased and privileged to have a very special guest to me who has done exactly all these things in his most decorated career. He started as an army person, then moved to help the government in setting up cybersecurity in one of the high commissions in Bangladesh, then was involved in Aadhaar, which is kind of defining our country, and then now he is involved with the retail explosion of selling jewelry and eyewear online. And please join me in welcoming the head of Cybersecurity and InfoSec at the Titan Group, Nishith Datta.
Hi Ashish, good morning, and good morning to all the viewers. Thanks for having me here, and it has been a great experience. Firstly, whatever you told, it was a wonderful 3 decades I had behind me in this profession. I look forward to always sharing my experiences with you all. Over to you, Ashish.
I promise you, this is going to be a one rocking session. You have so much going on. Nishit, before we get going, I think everybody, all of us, are really keen to understand. Give us a little bit of flavor of what Aadhaar and the security around it, and making sure that it is safe, most important thing is authenticating in the right way, making sure the database is secure. It's so much talked about the world's most largest project. Give us a little bit of color about how does cybersecurity and managing that look like for you.
Yeah, sure. Ashish, happy to share that. See, I had a ringside view of this entire thing. And being part of Aadhaar as a CISO, as a tech director over there, I would say that to sum it all, it was a very challenging and a rewarding tenure. Now, how it happens is that, Aadhaar is the largest foundational digital identity program in the world, and it is unique in its way. It is not unique only by its name, it is unique in the way it has been rolled out. And hats off to our predecessor and Nandan Nilekani sir and all those teams who brought this and who brought the jam trinity, that is Jandan, Aadhaar, and mobile confusion. The collusion of these three things and integration of these things, which really transformed the citizen's life. Now, today we talk of the digital benefit transfers, they get directly transferred to the beneficiaries. No leakage, no loss, nothing. How it is possible? It's all because of the Aadhaar's foundational identity, which it provides to the citizen. Now, there are more than 1.4 billion records, and that all the time we are looking upward of 10 crore authentications on a daily basis.
Wow.
And the enrollments and updates also take their own share of our time and our infrastructure digital estate, and it is a very expansive rollout. And what is very important is to balance the speed and availability for the citizens, and also with uncompromising security. And privacy is another dynamics. Although the DPDP Act and all those things have come about now, we were always under the purview of the IT Act. And the IT Act in itself had a lot of guidelines and a lot of guardrails around privacy. How we process citizens' data, transparency, what we can do, what we can share, even among the government organizations. So zero trust controls, encryption, protecting with biometric templates, which were world class, managing privileged access to at scale for all this infrastructure, and having a vibrant ecosystem of banks and other government agencies which are leveraging this foundational platform was the key. And it was a constant monitoring and living on the edge of not being abused, but at the same time being an enabler for the citizen and the government.
Fantastic. And now Nishit, now managing the most trusted brand, getting into retail, being on the other side, working directly with consumers, where making sure that the cybersecurity for all your consumers and subscribers who are buying your products online, especially retail products, and that too expensive products, jewelry and watches and stuff like that. How has that changed? Have you seen a change in any, from what the role at Aadhaar and what now you are doing?
Yeah. There is in fact, I would say that it is something like learning all over the thing from a different perspective. And it is like when I was in Aadhaar, it was primarily a compliance function, becoming an enabler for the government and the citizens, and ensuring being the guardian for the digital state. Okay. How it changes in the retail is that we are the core enabler for the business resilience and to build and maintain a customer trust. Security is no more a compliance function. It is no more a cost center. It is something like you are looked upon as a strategic risk, and then how you protect that particular segment ensures that how you build the customer trust and how you maintain the customer trust. So over the years, what I have seen is that in my present experience as a retail security head as a CISO in a retail big giant retail company, is that the leadership changing its ask from whether we are compliant to how does the consumer perceives us, how resilient we are we trustworthy in the eyes of the consumer. So it is a fundamental shift in the way of how we look at security from the government perspective or from the other government projects perspective, or vis-a-vis what is in the retail world.
Excellent. And retail, and especially the way you deliver your products to your customers, you have an omni channel, which is physical as well as digital. Now, does this also complicate the matter in terms of the way you kind of deliver the services and product to your customer? Does it add to complexity, or how do you see that?
Yeah, yeah, it surely does. Ashish, see, gone are the days when we had clear, distinct boundaries, and there were perimeters and there were security controls, and you would be happy with ensuring that these things are well protected. Now, the omni-channel, and there has been an explosion of omni-channel business from the COVID days, how we operate, and things have really transformed. The attack surface has actually gone everywhere. Whether you look at the cost systems on the store end, whether you look at the loyalty platforms, whether you look at the mobile applications, whether you look at the e-com portals, the consumers love this integration. They want a seamless experience, a frictionless experience. They want to go ahead and go to the extent, and the business really wants you to enable them in a way that you don't create a friction for the customer. They don't want the customer to halt in its journey or in its experience when it's interacting over the digital platform, or whether it is in the store. You don't want the customer to jump through hoops to land a transaction or to do a transaction with you. You, at the same time, the attackers are exploiting the same attack surface. Okay, they are actually thriving on this shift towards the consumer experience, which the business wants and the retail wants to extend to the consumers. So they are exploiting the same thing. You have seen of the QR frauds, the loyalty point thefts are on the rise, the brand impersonations, the phishing, and the sites which are absolutely coming up on a daily basis, which are impersonating your brands, eroding your brands, the margins and everything is all on the rise. So the integration of these two, physical and the digital touch points, has what it has done is it has ramped up the complexity of the security. And what is the essence is to have a layered integrated security where we have multiple controls which are so well integrated, but at the same time transparent to the user and do not come in the way of the user experience.
Excellent. And I think, and to add to that, I'm sure with y'all working with third party, so integrating third party applications or products or like you just mentioned about loyalty programs, right? Generally, you kind of leverage. I mean, there are applications which are available, there are providers available.
Yes.
Uh, do you see that adding to the complexity as well? Because now it's completely connected, right? Now, whether you're connecting with payment systems, you're connecting with loyalty programs, whatever and whatnot. So these are all third party integrations, and making sure they are secure, because security as good as the weakest link. How do you see the third party integrations? Do you see that also a challenge, and the way you need to address it to
You're
make sure consumers are safe?
absolutely spot on. Ashish, the point here is that, see, with the digital payments, the loyalty programs, the entire threat landscape has shifted actually. It has now transformed to a one where we have to manage with frauds, we have to manage with phishing, which is targeted at your consumers. You are looking at account takeovers, you are looking at loyalty point thefts, and all those kind of risks. Okay, now just look at it that it is no more a we cannot distinguish now between the cash and the loyalty points. The loyalty points and these loyalty programs and these platforms are a wealth of consumer data and also financial data. If anybody can breach any loyalty platform, he gets so much of PII information and such deep information about your consumer base, which is actually your lifeline in the retail. Okay. So you got to protect these with the same criticality as your credit card data which or stores which you have for your customers. Okay. The attackers will follow the consumer behavior and experience, and you have to have defense which scale up and evolve rapidly towards this. So the idea is that to ensure that you identify your core assets and you identify all the touch points to them and carry out a threat modeling based on these and build in the controls which are adaptive and agile for that. So that is the, I think, the essence of this whole game.
Absolutely. And so being an a consumer first online retail business, uh, you know consumer trust and their data is extremely critical, right, for the success of people trusting you. But it also brings in the complexity, right, that how do you make sure that the trust and everything is kept intact, as well as their experience is not affected. It's seamless experience, they love the experience, but at the back end making sure that the security and the data is kept secure and private. How do you balance that out? I feel that is a very critical aspect for success. But as a security practitioner, it sounds very easy, but keeping the experience seamless, yet making sure secure. How do you see that also a huge challenge, or you really put in a lot of effort to kind of make sure that these two are perfectly blended?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a good point, Ashish. You see, the consumer experience, as we discussed and we talked about, is foremost in any success of a retail business. Okay, we don't want to come in the way of that, because neither would we be appreciated by the consumer, because the consumer will leave the cart and move away to a different platform. But at the same time, we have to work seamlessly and invisibly behind the curtains to ensure that the custom and the consumer's interest and his safety is ensured, and he feels that it is a trustworthy platform, he can share things and he can do a transaction without getting compromised. Okay, so there are various ways. First is that you embed these controls into the way the business and the digital teams develop these applications and these platforms. Okay, like for example, for the payment, we all know about tokenization. Okay, so the credit card data is no more stored as is in the database, and you don't invest in a humongous amount of money and security controls to secure those data. You tokenize that credit card information. So in that way, also it protects the retail business. Even if you get compromised, you have not lost out any valuable information. Actually, the tokens are meaningless. It cannot be utilized by any attacker or any hacker anyway. So that's a wonderful way. Another way is adaptive authentication. You do not want to bring in 4 layers of authentication for a consumer, and his experience actually doesn't even match up for what he's looking forward to buying something. He wants to, like a sale or a window of sale, an opportunity. He wants to land and he wants to quickly pick up the thing. Otherwise, it will be gone. So now, how do you bring it? You look at adaptive authentication. Okay, you look at the biometrics of the digital biometrics. In case you sense that there is a fraudulent attempt to do something, or is the consumer is at risk, then only you introduce that second factor of authentication or something. Otherwise, you carry on with the device biometrics and device fingerprinting and try to move on. Then you have various fraud analytics which are integrated or which have underlying AI engines which help you pick up any fraud or something, which immediately stops and actually prevents a fraudulent transaction, and it helps the consumer also. I've seen many a time myself, I've experienced when I wanted to make a transaction on UPI, the transaction didn't go through. It warned me that you are making a transaction to a person which doesn't look safe. So please revisit this entire thing, details, and do. You cannot make a UPI transaction just taking a thing while you are making a call. It warns you, it alerts you. You are in a call. Do you want to still make this UPI transaction? So something like that. These are the things which come in, and this is how we have a consumer first business, I would say.
Fantastic, and it's so I'm glad that the listeners are going to gain so much. And I've always wondered that, because it's very important, as you said, that the consumer doesn't get to know all this. All this is happening at the back end. For
Yeah.
him, it's a seamless experience, quick, easy, fast, get this going. At the same time, he needs to feel safe that he is going to a site which will make sure that everything is in place, that my transaction doesn't get compromised and stuff like that. Phenomenal, absolutely amazing. uh, the other aspect which I always have felt and got a feedback from my CISO friends like you is the language you need to use to position what you are doing to your bosses, to the
Yeah.
board, to the management. You can't keep talking about adaptive authentication and SQL injections and database breaches and stuff like that. That's Greek and Latin for them. how do you manage to, and I'm sure that's a point which everybody is keen to find out. What's the secret sauce to deliver the message to your bosses and the board that you're doing something meaningful, which they understand as well? Would love to get your feedback on that.
Yeah. In fact, on sidelines of every conference or wherever the CISOs meet, this is a common conversation. Okay, so how do you communicate this risk to the thing, to the leadership, and to the board? And it's a difficult thing. And however we may like to put it across, it doesn't come out very easily, but every person has to navigate it in his own way. But there are certain ways. See, one of the big red flags is don't talk about technical risks. They are not there to either understand that, and you're getting paid. You're picking up a check for doing that. Okay. So don't talk about technical risks, talk of business risks. Okay. Talk of, like, I would like to relate to a small thing. Like if a vulnerability or a patch or an unpatched system remains, or somebody is operating on a OT system which is actually running on a Windows platform which is very old, but he is saying, the business leader is saying that I cannot move out, or the business is saying we cannot move out because this is core to our functioning or something. You have to look at how do you bring out the operational risk aspect. If there is a disruption, or if there is a regulatory exposure which is linked with that, or if there is a brand trust related issue, that's a how would we come across to our customers or our the other consumers, that if we get compromised. So that is the conversation which one needs to leverage. Also, there are financial impacts which are related to regulatory exposures. You can leverage them. Now, with this DPDP Act and everything coming out, they specify that if you do not comply with certain things, this is the punitive damage which will be there on you. So the business leaders do take note of it. When you talk in those terms, they look at it, and they also look at you as a enabler. They don't look at you as a cost center anymore. So they expect you to bring that and discuss that strategic risk which it poses, and not the technical risk part of it. That is left to you, how you deal with it, what you do with the digital teams. So I think that is where the balance is.
Do you also get asked about what is the return of investment? We are investing so much in cybersecurity, stuff like that. For them, it's all about money, right? Money,
Yes.
all about money, honey. How you are investing and what are we really getting out of it? Is that also which comes up? Because that's something which I keep hearing as well.
Yes, you're right. You're right. That's a very much a conversation. But somewhere, when you start talking about strategic risks and strategic, see, your investment should be, or return of investment should be measured against what are the tangibles which you give them in terms of these advantages which you have. Any merger or acquisition happening. Okay. So now you just look at that, has the due diligence happened there or not? Okay, advising the digital strategy for any of these things, you're part of those conversations. Okay, so you can shape your discussions, and it is important that we start looking at these conversations from these lens, and we start building those conversations in a manner that the return of investment do not become a stark reality, or maybe a issue which comes up in any conversation. So when you bring value, when you are perceived as a strategic advisor, they automatically have that faith and confidence in you that you will bring in something that which will be of value and which will be adding to the organization. And building and keeping a consumer trust, or building a business resiliency, is foremost in everyone's mind. Let us not discount that. And it would be actually taking away some credit from the senior leadership. They have also been there, they have gone up the ladder, and they also understand that.
Excellent, great. I'm sure this is it has matured, and I would completely agree with you. The thought process of the board and the management has matured in terms of understanding cybersecurity, not just from a return of investment perspective, but this
Exactly.
is strategic, this is stable states, and the 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 cost of your brand exposure or getting hit is much more than you can just kind of just perceiving it on a pure play return of investment. Absolutely, couldn't agree with you more. Nishith, any particular cyber security frameworks or compliance standards you found useful in your in the retail part of the world?
Yeah,
Anything?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, there are many. Actually, but before I launch onto any naming any particular standard and something, you see, these frameworks or the standards are only guides. What matters at the end of the day is to build a control environment which is agile and adaptive, as I told earlier too, and it should be able to scale up to the way the business is transforming itself. If it is bringing in a AI and it is doing a business in a particular way, and it is adopting AI as a transformative technology in doing business, then you got to scale up according to that. Okay. While we said that, we do have, because we deal with digital payments and credit cards and all PCI DSS for payments, then we operate across multiple geographies. Okay. Nowadays, it is very rare that you have a retail business which is localized. But in India, DPDP, when you operate in Europe, it is GDPR and all those. So it's a very complex regulatory landscape, and aligning with any of these actually helps you, and getting certified against or maybe assessed against any of this framework helps you in ease of doing business with your other partners. Okay. At the same time, I'll just say at the core of it is all the NIST CSF framework, which helps you assess the maturity and benchmark your the strength of your ISMS program against the peers and the other in the industry and the same segment. So all this actually stack up into bringing and making a very resilient network over which you run your digital business.
I agree. I think, I think again, gone are those days when you look at these compliance requirements as a burden. Actually, you're right.
Yes, you are
It
very right.
actually helps you, you know, put a process to this entire madness in terms of
Yes,
making sure that picking the right stuff, implementing the right things, and it just makes you more resilient and much more stronger in terms of combating any challenges
couldn't
which
agree
could.
more. Couldn't agree more.
Absolutely. Great. And so, just to delve into something you mentioned and the entire world is talking about, I mean, there cannot be any conversation which is today, you can have a conversation with any technology guy without talking about AI and how AI is changing, how is changing or not changing or what's happening. Everybody is talking about AI. This is my favorite question. I'm sure you are leveraging AI as well. And How do you see this new transformative technology helping you within your organization, or is it really helping you, or you are just trying to figure out things today as we talk, or but would love to get how is this phenomena getting used in your organization or in
So
your
you see, absolutely a point which I hear whenever I am in any conversation, and it is not unusual. And today, any of the tools you pick up, any security tool or any way of doing business or any business tool, it will have AI at its core. Okay. But I feel that the real power of AI is in driving fraud analytics and behavioral biometrics. That is where security is transforming. We are moving away. The perimeter is no more at your organization's boundary. Okay. You have actually made the consumer and the consumer's desktop your perimeter. But you don't have any actually lean on that. You cannot tell a consumer that how you have to protect his laptop or his desktop or his mobile phone. You can use it any way you want. But at the same time, you want your uh, business to be secure, the way the transactions happen to be secure, and also the consumer's interests to be looked into. Okay. So all that put together, I think AI plays a very important role. So while we use many tools like Microsoft Defenders and all, which use at the core AI natively, we are also looking at using AI as an enabler for fraud analytics, for understanding and picking up any kind of deviation from a way a particular transaction happens, and then flagging it off, and then bringing in the human element for the critical thinking and validating those inputs and other things. Also, that said, we are using AI in a big way in our VAPT. See, traditionally, how VAPT used to happen is that you do a VAPT and you follow through in a governance mechanism that you have to close this within the remediation SLA periods and all that. Now it is no more so. You have to prioritize and give the business that, see, this is the true risk. Although I have a cross-site scripting or some vulnerability in this application, but intersect this and the other vulnerability, you got to fix that one first because I have some control. I have a light patching mechanism in the form of a WAF, which gives you this thing. So the true risk identification, detection, and reporting helps them also prioritize and enhance their way of defending the systems and patching those systems. So this is where the AI comes in.
Awesome. I mean, this is just, I think this exactly, I can relate to everything you mentioned. Uh, AI is best used for efficiency, monitoring, but I don't think has reached a point where it can take calls on itself. And
Yes.
you clearly mentioned that, using it for efficiency, monitoring, figuring out what the right, how to prioritize stuff, and then helping humans to either implement, verify, or prioritize, right? So I agree, and I think this is a phenomena, or the feedback I see across the world, when I'm traveling abroad and meeting several people, several customers, and peers across the world, that AI is really here to stay. Great technology, but it is not really going to take on the humans. I mean, the if the importance of humans and verifying is continue to going to remain there, and there is no. It definitely helps you in efficiency.
Yeah, it's not the silver bullet. It's a enabler and a force multiplier for you. The
I,
human oversight remains critical.
Very well put. I agree. And Nishit, so now getting into the point that you cannot replace one category in our cybersecurity is humans, and it is the most, I think, the most cherished as well as most difficult uh, aspect of the business, because humans by nature are complex. So, and your role becomes even more complex because you are managing the humans not only in your corporate environment, but you also have retail stores. So
Yes, yes.
how do you work on bringing in a culture which is across the organization, and is consistent, and it's humans, right? Complex, very complex.
Fantastic point. Absolutely nail on and spot on this. And I would say that the key lies in what I say is meet them where they are. I'll tell you an example of this. Okay. Now we have factories, we have retail stores, you have RSOs. They're in the middle of doing their business. They don't work on laptops, they don't work on traditional emails, but they use WhatsApp and they use SMS. Nobody is away from their phone. Okay. So stop running your phishing and awareness programs on phishing simulations on email. Use WhatsApp and SMS for this. We are leveraging that. We are utilizing it, and it resonates far better with the employees in the retail stores. And the way you conduct this, it has to be something which is actually tailored to message in the right context. Okay, like for example, when you're actually creating a phishing simulation for the factory workers, you got to look at that. Okay, what is more relevant to him? Don't send him something like which is traditionally that click on this and you'll get a trip to Europe or something. So that doesn't really cut an ice with him. Okay, so but give him something that, okay, your shift change or something which is more actually relevant to him, or is something which is he's not able to attend to and it actually bugs him. Those things you have to remain connected with him to understand what will resonate better for the person who is at the retail end. You have to tell that, okay, you have been chosen as a person that who's been able to land a lot of customers and consumers, and also so we are giving you something, so please give out your credentials or maybe fill out this form, and you try to figure out what will do. And when he gets compromised or she gets compromised, then that person understands that what is the criticality and how it happens. So it is the language and it is the simplicity, the relevancy, and the contextualness of those programs is what matters, and the efficacy of those programs.
Fantastic, man. This is beautiful. This is a great spin, and I love it that, you know as humans are complex, but they love simple and they like simple commands and simple ways to understand. So I
Relevant.
think what really, you know, doubling down is how do you use that simplicity for them to also engrave that cybersecurity awareness is part of their entire day-to-day stuff. Awesome. Nishit, before I let you go, I have a very favorite section. It's called the rapid fire section. I'll ask a few
Okay.
questions and I look forward to your responses. Let me start with the first one. What is the one misconception about retail cybersecurity you'd like to clear?
Well, I was a victim of this misconception till the time I joined the retail industry. I used to think retail is security is all about shoplifting and protecting the business from shoplifting. But now I know with the omni-channel, with the digital payments, with the AI-driven personalization for the customers, the boundaries blurring, we are the prime target for sophisticated large-scale attacks. We are constantly under attack. And Ashish, who would know better than a person who is helping us actually protect the perimeters, and you know the quantum of attacks which are coming onto any of these digital platforms. Okay, the sheer volume of the customer data, the loyalty programs, the way they leverage the digital points and all those things, and how those can be encashed by a attacker makes them very lucrative target. So I think this is the biggest myth I would like to bust. So if you're headed for the retail, look for something more than shoplifting.
I agree. One emerging technology you are most excited about in retail security.
Yeah, I would be amiss if I don't talk of AI here. So I will be taken as the most dumb CISO. So but that apart, jokes apart, I would say that AI-driven fraud analytics and behavioral biometrics, these are the two technologies, not only in the retail, even in Aadhaar. I'll just tell you, draw upon my experience there. Uh, you could pick up from the sheer volume of or the nature of a transaction, a particular enrollment operator enrolling a category of citizens across the state. Why is he doing it? So there's no reason for people from West Bengal to suddenly start getting their enrollments done from somewhere in Delhi or maybe across the state. That means there's something fishy going on. Okay. That means there's something not working right. There's no reason for an enrollment operator to suddenly abstract himself from one location, because you can pick up from his IP that where he was operating all this time and suddenly go across and move across in the evening and or in the night and enrolling a few people over there in another part and then coming back and again operating. So these all sends out red flags. Okay. So fraud detection, behavioral biometrics, everything adds up. And these are the most exciting technologies.
Finally, if you could give your younger self one piece of advice as a CISO, what it what would it be?
Yeah, that's a question. A lot of advice. But one thing is that coming from a technical background, I got lost maybe in the initial days in talking the technical jargon, getting lost in the compliance reports and all. And I would think that, okay, this is it. And I'm doing the most important thing, most relevant thing. But what was more important and critical, I feel I would have really scaled the heights if I had been able to build good relationship with the business. I learned it in Aadhaar. There they have a fantastic way of working. See, as a technology implementer or as a infosec guy, you work very closely with the business and you start becoming relevant to the business and how they do the business. You help them, you enable them, you make their business model more resilient, and that is what makes the CISO more influential in our organization, to be looked upon as a trusted advisor and not just as a security police who is telling you how not to do it. And in fact, one of the things which I tell when I interview a candidate for my team or a person to join my team is that I say that you an enabler, or are you a person who's going to show the business a particular mandate that this is what you got to do. You cannot do that. You cannot tell. It's not enough to tell the business that you are not compliant. So please be part of the solution and not be just another person who says that, okay, this is the problem and you go ahead and solve it.
Awesome. Nishit, It was an absolute pleasure to host you. I'm sure this is everybody who is going to be listening to this podcast is going to love it. Thanks so much for taking time out. It really means a lot to me. I know you generally are a very shy kind of person, doesn't talk. Is not. We have a very coming from the army background. We have very little footprint of you in the social setup. But thank you so much. Really appreciate you joining us on this show.
Ashish, it's always a pleasure, and thanks for having me here. And I really love this 30 minutes. I don't know how it went by, but I really look forward to again connecting, and it has been a great pleasure. You have a great day yourself. Thank you.
Thank
And let's
you.
stay secure.